G'day viewers, Retro Man here, and welcome to episode 5 of Lost Movies from the 1990s. Today I have two very interesting comedies for you. In fact, you could say that these very funny movies fell by the wayside. Now, this first film is about a very charismatic prison escapee who assumes the identity of a very rich advertising executive. This film will really make you laugh, and I tell you what, the performance by the lead actor is an hilarious knockout. The second film is a crime comedy about two brothers, and one of them falls head over heels for this girl and decides to go straight by taking a corporate job. There's some action and some comedy in that film, and man, when it comes to the game of love, sometimes the best things in life are free. So both of these films supply the laughs, and they also have some very winning performances. Taking Care of Business from 1990 is an hilarious comedy starring James Belushi and Charles Grodin. Now, back then, James Belushi was really trying to make a name for himself as a major star. He was working his way through the ranks. I mean, he had some knockout supporting roles that had really put him on the casting radar. And I think Taking Care of Business is just one of these lesser-known gems. So it'll put a smile on your face, it'll make you laugh, and it'll make you realise just how much potential James Belushi had when it comes to being a mega movie star. So it features a fantastic Belushi performance, and Grodin is really good as well. Grodin was firing on all cylinders around this time. He'd just done Midnight Run, and at the same time he was just getting into those Beethoven dog films. So you had two actors that really brought the comedy, and they also brought a real likability to their roles. So in this film, Belushi plays Jimmy Dworsky. He's a car thief who's actually in prison, and he's almost served his full time. He only has a couple of days to go, but it just so happens that he's won tickets to see his favourite baseball team, the Chicago Cubs, in the World Series. So he's kind of contemplating, how can I get out of prison and go and see the Cubbies in the World Series? So should he escape? Should he create a little bit of a diversion and, go to see the Cubbies? What will he do? So the Belushi character is a bit of a charming con man, and he decides to create a little bit of a diversion at the prison there, and he kind of escapes, and he steps out for a few days to go and see the Cubs in the World Series. So it makes for a very interesting plot setup, this one, and Belushi is out on the street, and it just so happens he bumps into Charles Grodin at the airport, and he ends up retrieving Grodin's filofax. Now, a filofax is a daily planner, and it has all of Grodin's business details in there and also where he lives. So basically, Belushi assumes Grodin's identity once he has his hands on this filofax that just kind of fell into his path. So it makes way for a mistaken identity movie, and Grodin, for the most part, is sort of kept out in the wilderness, and Belushi is just living it up in this mansion that really Grodin should have been doing. So the only thing that's a bit of a downer here is that Belushi and Grodin don't get to share a lot of screen time due to the plot device, and Belushi just has an absolute ball in this film. You know, he has that working class charisma, that everyman style. The Jimmy character is, a likable con man. He is just super cool, very funny. I mean, this is the type of movie that Bruce Willis could have done, but I'm so glad that Belushi did it because he just fits the role like a glove. And what I really enjoy about this film is the rags to riches aspect of Belushi occupying Grodin's property and living it up. He's having a ball using all the amenities of the property. He's swimming in the pool. And this house that he takes over is just a mansion. And also there is a bit of a fringe benefit. A girl comes over one day and Belushi gets to meet this very beautiful woman, and he very quickly uses his charms to fall for her. And I've always enjoyed the little romantic subplot in this film with Lauren Lachlan. She's just an absolute stunner, and there's a sequence there where she jumps into the swimming pool, and Belushi is so blown away by what he sees that he actually jumps in the pool after her with his clothes on. So Belushi's character was blown away by the beauty of Lauren Lachlan, and I also think that most males who watch this film will think, why wasn't Lauren Lachlan given bigger roles? So there's a nice little romance going on in the background as well. So Taking Care of Business, a movie about mistaken identity and mansions and a very beautiful woman. And Belushi makes a lot of workplace decisions for Grodin. He meets with Mako, who's this other businessman, and they're working on products and advertising, and there is just so many laugh out loud moments. This film has it all, and you have Grodin in his little scenes in the background, and he is trying to convince everyone of who he is and basically get back to the property and reassume his identity. And by the end of the film, Grodin and Belushi do come together and share a little bit of screen time. But I must say that that performance by James Belushi is just so charismatic, so charming, and you really like the guy. So you want to see him make it back to the prison as the time is ticking away. And there's just something about this film, I won't spoil the ending, but you just want to see Belushi win. And it has a great ending. Belushi kind of makes his way back to the prison. I will say no more. But there's also another delight in this film, and that is the performance by Hector Elizondo, who many of you may remember from Pretty Woman. He plays a very fun role in this as the guy that's running the prison, and he has a few interesting moments with Belushi that really made me laugh. And Taking Care of Business is one of those movies that takes its title from a famous rock song. So it's actually named after Taking Care of Business by Bachman Turner Overdrive. So that song is played on the opening credits. In fact, the opening credits has an animated sequence, and there was a time there in the 80s and 90s where they liked to put animation during the credits. And this film has an interesting little animated segment there before it gets into the prison stuff, and we see Belushi for the first time hanging out in the prison kitchen. So Taking Care of Business has a really stellar cast, and it was directed by Arthur Hiller, who gave us movies like Silver Streak. So it was in sure hands when it came to a comedy director, and I really think that this is an underrated film with just a lot of fun and energy on the screen. So Taking Care of Business from 1990, a lesser known film, a film that was trying to launch Belushi as a movie star, and this film deserved so much better. Mo Money from 1992 is a very funny crime comedy featuring two very talented brothers, Damon Wayans and Marlon Wayans. Now, this was a film that had a really nice marketing campaign, and I really wanted to see it in the cinema, but for some reason my local theatre didn't play it. So it had a bit of a minor release here in Australia. It did play in a few places, but it didn't go wide in our country. I think the first time I saw it was on a new release video rental. I went out there and got it immediately, and I really enjoyed it. I had such a great time with it that I think I watched it 3 times before I returned the tape. But in America, this film was one of those sleeper hits. I think it brought in 40 million, and they spent about 10 million on it, so it didn't do too bad. And the movie has a little bit of a cult status to it, and Damon Wayans at that point in time was really becoming a bit of a star. He had that TV show in living colour going on in the background, and also he had just come off the bat of a movie with Bruce Willis called The Last Boy Scout. So Damon Wayans was on the poster of this film, Mo Money, and they were really trying to sell it on the charms of him. He was becoming, you know, in some ways, the new Eddie Murphy. And I think anything really that Damon Wayans did at that time found a bit of a fan base. It wasn't what you would call a big mainstream movie, but it did catch some audiences by surprise, and it did get the box office ticking in the United States. And this film, I think, has a lot of attributes to it. I think Damon gets to actually explore a lot of his talents in the confines of this plot. Now, the film has him and his brother playing a couple of petty con men, and they like to do these little street hustles. But one day a girl walks into their path, played by Stacey Dash, and Damon very quickly falls for Stacey. In fact, what happens is he says to his brother that he kind of wants to go clean now. So Damon actually gets a job for a corporate company because that's where Stacey works. And Damon really tries to use his charms to win over the affections of Stacey. So this film is quite interesting. It has a lot of offbeat comedy moments, but at the same time, there's a strong romance here that propels this thing. And for the most part, Damon Wayans and Stacey Dash have a really nice on-screen chemistry. Not to mention, really, Marlon Wayans, who's Damon's younger brother. I mean, he's great with Damon in this as well. So there's a lot of chemistry going on. There's little pockets of it throughout. And in many ways, this was a film that had high aspirations because it actually tries to weave action sequences in here as well. So you've got the comedy stuff going on, you've got some crime stuff going on, you've got some romance, you've got some action, and it all makes for a very interesting stew. So Mo Money is this quirky movie from the early 90s that I think had strong appeal with the youth market, and it actually really tried hard to launch Damon Wayans as a megastar. And it was not long after this film that he did Major Pain, which was a bit of a hit for Damon. So he definitely had his time there in the sun in the 90s. And Mo Money has a likability to it and a real infectious energy. And a movie such as this needs a villain, and there's a really creepy performance in this by John Deal, or John Dial, however you pronounce his name. And I've seen this guy a few times over the years, but here he is just creepy to the point of annoying. So however you want to take his performance, but I really like Mo Money. I think it's a lot of fun, and it also has a song that was a bit of a hit called The Best Things in Life Are Free. Now that was by Janet Jackson, and I think it works really well with the film. I still remember the music video now. So Mo Money is just cool and fun and funky, and the Wayans brothers just have this offbeat chemistry that really keep you going with this one. They are the engine room, the driving force of all the mayhem, and when they get together on the screen and they're doing all these crazy little moments, you really get swept up in the lunacy of their antics. So Mo Money from 1992, Damon and Marlon have great chemistry together, and I tell you what, Stacey Dash is just as cute as a button. So there we have it, guys, a lightning bolt of two comedies from the 90s. These are kind of lost. No one talks about them today, but I have an affection for both films. Share your thoughts in the comments below on what you think of Taking Care of Business and also Mo Money, James Belushi and Damon Wayans. Wow, those guys were really trying to make a name for themselves in the 90s, and these films are a good testament of their comic timing. If you've seen Taking Care of Business, please let me know what you think of it in the comments below. If you're a fan of Mo Money and the Wayans brothers, let me know what you think of that in the comments below. I'd like to hear your memories on these two films. Did you see them in the theatre? Did you catch up with them on video? Have you never seen these films? I think they're definitely worthy of your attention. Let's get that discussion flowing and keep watching the channel because I will be back with another episode very soon. But until then, please like, comment and subscribe. And while you're at it, hit that notification bell so you're alerted for my next episode. Until next time, this is Retro Man, living the dream, retro style. Stay gold.
Thanks for watching. Retro Man will return faster than a boomerang. But in the meantime, please check out these other episodes.